The September window comes to a close. The United States get a win, the biggest win for Mauricio Pochettino with regards to the opponent. Granted, they played with their B team, some of their first teamers coming on. They had a good team. This is Japan, and we're very deep. If France or Germany or whoever played their B team, and I'm not putting Japan in that class yet, getting a win over a name like that, and Japan is a big name, is good. So we should be happy. But we'll break that down here on the Soccer OG. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. And I don't want to go too in-depth in here because we do have to take this with a grain of salt. The U.S. are supposed to win these games. And I feel good about it, but I'm not doing backflips and saying, oh man, everything's changed. We're back on track to be a World Cup quarterfinals, yada, yada, yada. It's none of that. It was an impressive performance. The U.S. won by 2. It could have won by a lot more. I mean, really should have been 4, could have been 5. They kept the sheets clean. And there are some good things to take out of it, which is what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to get all the answers, but we're supposed to get some answers, and I think we got that. And now we look to October, where there is, according to Mauricio Pochettino, no more messing around. This is the squad. And with a win like this, all of a sudden the October window, he gets his moment because he could use this and say, look, I told you I needed to get a look here and there. And now the October window, he can bring in the heavy hitters, which I think he will. So with regards to the things that happened here that I think we can take away with it. And right out of the jump, the starting 11. Again, I don't want to get caught up on the minutia or the small stuff. I know there's people out there that are gonna ignore the result and the performance and sit here and go, oh, Tristan Blackman, oh, Christian Roldan. And it is so boring. The reality is, said this in the past, we got to focus on the guys that are going to be there in the World Cup opener. And it's neither one of those two, I don't think. So we look at the major food groups. But first things first, with the formation, I was in the chorus. I don't think I've said it publicly, but I want to see a back 3. We were just too loose defensively. We were giving up too many bad goals. We were still pretty loose in this game in the first half, got better in half number 2. And I say, look, if we're not going to be a great offensive team, which we are not, let's be a good defensive team. It's tried and tested. So many countries have done it in the past and have succeeded in the World Cup. We really did it in 2022. We were hard to crack. And we got by with a couple goals, getting to the round of 16, which, to be perfectly honest, and you could take your delusions with you, round of 16 sounds pretty good to me right now. That feels, because remember we have I think you have an extra knockout game in this World Cup, so 48 teams, round of 16 sounds pretty darn good. I think the back 3, with this result, will have Mauricio Pochettino thinking, this is good. And, we see Tim Ream. Chris Richards is back. Chris Richards is superb. And it was Tristan Blackman. And Tristan Blackman looked pretty good here because he is part of a back 3. A little less responsibility. He can put some fires out with things defensively. Now, I even think with the back 3, because Tim Ream to me, the age is showing. And I wonder if we can sacrifice having a good passing player out of the back. I think Chris Richards is getting better in that. And then have 3 really good athletes in that back 3. So don't start Tim Ream. You have Richards, preferably in the middle, and then say Mark McKenzie. These are the guys that are going to be brought into camp, whether you like them or not. Mark McKenzie, Miles Robinson, Tristan Blackman may have put himself in there. Austin Trusty, Cameron Carter-Vickers. I don't know if they make that big jump and get back in there, but these are all guys that have a good profile, strong, uncompromising, and in many cases athletic. Freeman as well, who was at the right back, he was getting up. Maybe there's a way that he can help fortify a back line. Just lock it down. And, I've seen enough. I don't want to go back to the back 4. I just think horses for courses. You get in there, and then Jedi Robinson and Serginho Dest with some freedom to go, and then they become part of that midfield. And now you're cooking. And then you play with 2 6s, which they did here. It was Christian Roldan and Tyler Adams. And I saw some nice things between them. There was a lot of communicating. I know Christian Roldan is the player du jour of the attacks of the keyboard warriors. And, He played 90 minutes. Game was a clean sheet. Had a lot of possession. And you're going to... I saw him putting Tyler Adams into place. And I ain't telling you Christian Roldan's going to make this, but it's going to put some pressure on those guys that are supposed to make it. Ideally, I would like to see 2 really good defensive midfielders, Adams and Cardoso. You get 2 number 10s, ideally Christian Pulisic and Malik Tillman. And then you have Flo Balogun, who I will get to here in a moment. So the formation was a winner. Matt Freese, I think, locked up the goalkeeping role. Is there any debate at this point? He was fantastic, making big saves, really good vision. And after a dicey performance in Korea, a good bounce back. I guess you could keep the competition going, but if you're Mauricio Pochettino, why do you want to keep any more headaches? Yeah, and headaches they are. And you can see cracks showing with Pochettino this week where he talked about the criticism. So clearly he's hearing about it, and it's well-deserved. This team has been pretty poor and heading in the wrong direction. And this World Cup is so important for people like me and you and soccer. And I want Pochettino has to understand the responsibility here. If they lay an egg in the World Cup, it will be disastrous. It will set this sport back years. We can't just show up and make numbers. We can't get grouped out of the World Cup. This is serious business because this is the launching point for men's soccer in this country. It is really, really serious. I'm telling you. I'm not kidding around. I know I do. I'm not kidding. So he has to understand that, and I'm sure he does. Flo Balogun. And a little assist here by Christian Pulisic on the goal. Flo Balogun is the number 9. I think we've seen the end of Josh Sargent. Ricardo Pepi certainly will compete for maybe the backup, but Flo Balogun, and a big knock on wood with health, has to stay healthy. We cannot even begin to assume that he will. The track record is just astronomical. But Balogun was exceptional, and he looked big and strong, and he was bullying players. Should have had 2 goals. But the fact that Christian Pulisic combined with him, that is a eureka moment. Because those are 2 guys without question that will be starting for the U.S. So let's not get caught up on some of the fringe. Christian Pulisic to Flo Balogun, huge. So very happy about the way that broke down. I think bringing some other guys in, just looking at the September window, Alex Sandeja scores the goal. No one helped themselves more. I think he's really crept into the 23-man roster at the very least. And maybe a guy can give you a little different. He does have a different profile. I don't think he starts, but maybe he can get some minutes. And really, that's about it. And again, I think we put this victory aside and we don't overhype it. I don't think people will be. I think people, just based on the post game and some of the content that I'm seeing, I don't think people are blowing it out, and they shouldn't. But Joe Blow, regular, innocuous soccer fans going to see that result and go, okay, I can do that. This was a Japan team that was this close to making the quarterfinals of the World Cup last time, granted without some of their featured players. So take it with a grain of salt. Good spots here with goalkeeper number 9 and perhaps a couple guys like Zendejas who can get a little bit closer. And now we get serious for October, right? We get serious about what's going to happen in October. And I've said this, and I find it hard to believe that Mauricio Pochettino just said, I ain't going to call these guys in because of this or that. I think he got something out of the conversations or what they have had. I believe Weston McKennie really needs to show some discipline. Historically, he comes to the United States for a call-up, and things don't always go great. A couple things that have happened in the past that kind of took our breath away. I don't want to get into that. History of kind of getting here and not taking care of his body. That is all there. We can't have bad apple stuff like what Gio Reyna and his parents did at the World Cup. I truly believe Jedi Robinson wanted to focus on his club because he wanted this dream move to Liverpool, and I don't blame him. So that's probably part of the reason why he's not here. The season just started, and he just came back from injury. I don't blame him, but he's got to be locked in here, and Mauricio Pochettino can tell. Johnny Cardoso, maybe to a lesser degree. Just got this Atletico Madrid dream opportunity, and he wants to kind of cultivate it the best way. Great. That's what September was for. I ain't buying the fact that these guys were called up and were not called up because Mauricio Pochettino said, I want to see Nathaniel Harrell. If it's true, then I'm wrong. But I think there was conversations, and he said, okay, it makes sense. You got to focus on that. But all of that is over. Good discipline. Focus on the national team. No whinging. It's focus on the national team from October on. Pochettino deserves some blame for that, maybe more. But these players, I've got to believe that there's only one place they want to be. And I really look at cataloging it. I get the feeling sometimes that's not exactly the impression they're setting. Let's get it in October. The Soccer OG, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We'll be back. This is the good stuff, baby.